Welcome back. Let's go back to what's happening on Capitol Hill. We've been watching that clock ticking down to a government shutdown in just over 37 hours now. And I want to bring in Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut. Congressman, thanks for spending some time with us. In your state, there's over 8,000 federal employees who could be impacted by a government shutdown. Over 45,000 people who depend on the nutrition program WIC, which provides food and aid to low-income women and children. A few hundred airport workers who will have to work without pay. Do you have any insight on if there's a chance of a last-minute deal?
I don't think so, Anna, and I don't have a ton of insight because this is one of those, I've been through a few shutdowns here, and this is one of those really weird shutdowns where there's no clear policy ask, right? I remember the shutdown when Ted Cruz wanted to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Didn't succeed, but that's what he wanted. There was a shutdown where the Republicans wanted to build Trump's wall. Didn't succeed, but that's what... This time there's no ask. There's no ask. You have a situation where the Senate has passed a solution. The House could pass it right now, but there's 20 or so Republicans, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the usual crew, who are telling the Speaker, if you do that, we will try to take away your job. And that's why we're shutting down. It's absolutely stunning.
Congressman, I want to quote something you said. When the most powerful government in the world beclowns itself and demonstrates to the world that it's being run by kindergartners, there's also a huge effect in terms of risk perception and confidence and stability. What did you mean by risk perception there?
Well, what I mean by that is, and we'll talk more about this, but the tragedy, of course, is visited on federal workers and on people who rely on federal programs. And by the way, that's most of us. You know, at the end of the day, that's not just food stamp recipients. That's also people who are trying to renew a passport or sign up for Medicare or sign up for Social Security. But what I was referring to in that thing is, it's a dangerous world out there. I spent a lot of my time on national security. There's a competition for the world's confidence between China and the United States, Russia, Iran, North Korea. And when we deliberately hurt ourselves for no good reason, in fact, for a stupid reason, which is why I sort of felt like this was all being engineered by kindergartners, the world takes notice. And those people who believe that President Xi of China may be right, that democracy doesn't work, they look at us beclowning ourselves, as we're about to do, and say, you know what, President Xi has a point. Democracy doesn't really seem to work. And that's a very dangerous signal to send to the world.
Congressman, please stay with us. I want to bring into this conversation Jason Jakubowski. He's the CEO of Food Share Connecticut, which oversees more than 600 food pantries in Connecticut, serving people in Congressman Himes' district and across the state. Jason, thanks for taking the time. What are you expecting if there's a shutdown?
Well, thanks for having me on, Anna. I appreciate it. We're in pre-emergency mode here now at the food bank. Unfortunately, we had a little practice with this with the partial government shutdown back in 2019. We're expecting increased lines at pantries in the congressman's district and all across the state of Connecticut. We're also anticipating, we have an airport here in Connecticut. We'll probably be doing a pop-up mobile pantry for the TSA agents up there. We also have the Coast Guard Academy here in the state of Connecticut. We will likely have to do a pop-up food pantry down there in New London. So it's really widespread across the state of Connecticut. If we get to the point in which SNAP benefits come into jeopardy, there's not enough food at all the food banks in the country to make up the difference if people aren't able to get their SNAP benefits.
That is a scary thought, Jason, and a heartbreaking thought. What is your message to Congress right now? Speak to Congressman Himes and others who can make a difference, it doesn't have to be this way, right?
Absolutely. We speak to Congressman Himes often. Our delegation is wonderful here in Connecticut. What I would say is Congress just needs to do its job. I mean, most often you see these situations, sometimes the House is fighting with the Senate, Democrats fighting with Republicans, the president fighting with Congress. This is just a situation in which those congressmen who are holding out, particularly in the House of Representatives, remember your constituents. I am telling you, go call your local food bank, go down to one of your local food distributions, and you will see the lines increase over the next couple of weeks. This has a real effect on real Americans.
Congressman, your reaction, your response.
Well, Jason's exactly right. And I'm so glad you featured Connecticut, because Connecticut is known nationally as a wealthy state. And we are on average. But every single day I wake up knowing that I represent some of the wealthiest people in the country who will be okay. But especially in a high-cost state, Jason will tell you, in communities like Bridgeport or Norwalk or Stamford, there is really serious poverty. And of course, it will be those people who, because of the absurdity on Capitol Hill, are wondering whether they are going to be able to feed their children. And so you've really made the point well. For no good reason, in fact, for stupid reasons, we are putting at risk not just people who are profoundly disadvantaged in communities like Bridgeport or Norwalk or Stamford, but we're even going to hurt the middle class, those TSA agents, those passport workers who every single day go to work to serve the American public. And for no good reason, they're now going to wonder whether they need to line up at a food bank because they're not getting paid.
So, Congressman, we only have about 20 seconds, but talk to Jason for a moment. What is your message to him?
Well, my message is thank you for doing what you do, and I see Jason and his people an awful lot, and they do wonderful, wonderful work under very difficult circumstances. And all I can say is thank you for what you're doing. You know what's not happening is we're not doing our job, and in particular the Republican majority, not even the whole Republican majority, but a small number of them are creating huge problems for people like Jason and the folks that he serves.